Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a My 2 Cent Nintendo/gaming video for this week, where I take a look at some of the stories that caught my attention and give you my thoughts and my opinion. And for this one, we're doing the My 2 Cent video for the week of April 26th to May 2nd, and we got 5 stories to cover for this week, including rumors about the possibility we may not get a Nintendo Direct for June, the reveal, or at least the first trailer, shall we say, of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the next entry into the Assassin's Creed series. Stadia showed, or should I say, Google had their first Stadia Connect, which to me is basically their version of a Nintendo Direct, to be exact. Indivisible, if I'm saying the name correctly, is out, but there's an odd situation with that going on as well. And we have new release dates for two of Sony's games, Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. However, it seems as though there may be a situation with The Last of Us 2, especially with the whole, supposedly the game, a lot of the information was leaked, including possibly the ending and so forth. So before we get started on this, we'll do a quick rundown on what I like to refer to as the quick My 2 Cent part. Stories that somewhat caught my attention, but not on the same level as the 5 that I'm going to talk about. The first one is that apparently 2K Games has revealed a new WWE game that supposedly is going to be coming out this year, called WWE 2K Battleground. Basically, it's an arcade-style wrestling game, from what I've been hearing, and some say in a way, it kind of reminds them a little bit of WWE Superstar and WWE, or at the time called WWF WrestleMania. So far, the reaction has been kind of mixed on this one, especially the visuals and all that stuff. We'll have to wait to see what the actual gameplay is. And, well, let's just say the WWE license game has not been met with great reception, though. And we've had WWE 2K18 on the Switch, which was poorly optimized, let's be exact. And last year's WWE 2K20 was an utter disaster, and that led to the point that 2K had said they were going to take a break this year of doing doing a WWE game for this year. Some of that also has to do with the whole coronavirus situation. But as far as platform goes, no announcement of any platforms, but given the fact that Saber Interactive is working on this title, it does seem like there is more than likely it's going to come to the Switch. Who knows? But given 2K seems to be supporting the Switch a little bit more, it's going to happen. It looks like it's going to happen, though. We also learned that Persona 5 Scramble, the game between the collaboration between Aulx and Koei Tecmo, looks like it's still being planned to be being brought over here to the West, though. Basically, that's a game that is supposedly the sequel to Persona 5. Royal and so forth. But this one, we know, with working with Omega Force, which has done the Warrior series and all that stuff. I am a little curious about this game, and I'm a little curious to try it out for myself when it comes out, though. I know Warriors games may not be for everybody, though, but there are some good ones, particularly the Nintendo-themed ones like Fire Emblem Warrior and Hyrule Warriors, though. So I'm curious to see how this one turns out as well if it comes over here to the West. But at least according to supposedly a financial report from Koei Tecmo, it looks as though that we could be seeing this game coming into the West. We also learned that apparently Animal Crossing New Horizon, despite seems to be doing well in sales, is still getting review bombed even after the game has already been out. I'm not a big fan of review bombing in general, though, okay? I'm not saying all user reviews are necessarily bad. There are those who actually give a fair and legitimate reviews, but I'm very cautious, especially those who simply review bomb a game for no apparent reason. We saw this with Animal Crossing, and we saw this with Astro Chain. We saw this with Breath of the Wild. I saw this with, I think, Breath of the Wild, when people got upset that Horizon Zero Dawn did not get a high score as Breath of the Wild did. Even movies have done this, regardless of whether you like the movies or not, like Star Wars The Last Jedi and Captain Marvel and all that stuff. But point being is, I'm not a big... and outright oppose review bombing in general. We also learned that Reggie Fils-Aimé will be starting a new gaming podcast, and this one's going to be for the a charity and all that stuff. I think it is for in terms of helping research with the whole coronavirus situation, but either way, it's certainly nice to see seeing what Reggie's doing post being the president of Nintendo of America. And last but not least, we've learned that the physical release of the Wonderful 101, the remaster version, unfortunately is going to be delayed even for those who backed the game. Full disclosure, I'm one of those who did back it as well, though. And I think a lot of it is the whole situation with the coronavirus, which honestly, while disappointed, I'm not really shocked about this in any way, though. And it is a possibility that we're going to have to get used to seeing a lot of delays as of currently because of the whole situation with the coronavirus and so forth. Okay, with the quick My 2 cent part now done, we'll get started with our first one. And this one has to do with Stadia, or shall we say Stadia Connect. Now, Google Stadia has been on the news for not a lot of great reasons. When it originally launched in November, the reviews for it were kind of mixed. While some of it was that it worked and some people did like it, others were not happy with it. Some people felt like you were paying money for a beta and all that stuff. And that didn't exactly sit very well. There were reports of people saying that the Stadia underperformed and all that stuff. To a lot of people were not going to renew their subscription for basically Stadia because they felt like there was no reason to, especially after their pro membership was up and they had to renew it, but they weren't and all that stuff. And and a lot of people felt like, given Google's reputation, that they were going to drop Stadia like they have with other stuff. Well, this week though, Google launched their first Stadia Direct, known as Stadia Connect. Though it was basically showing off what they are bringing over to the Stadia platform. And while not every announcement will sit with everybody though, and while it's not perfect, I would say it's a start. From an article from Destructoid, they give us like the full rundown of it though. It reads that, quote, Google hosts a special Stadia Connect event today which announced 11 games coming to the service. Some are coming sooner than later, so they should point out what's been confirmed. It's worth pointing out that before the video started, they wanted to let you know, much like Nintendo did with their Direct, that due to the ongoing situation with the coronavirus, some of these games, their dates could change and all that stuff. Anyway, the article continues with PUBG, Players Unknown Battleground, is probably the crown jewel here, as the Pioneer Edition arrives today for $39.99, $40, which comes with the Survivor Pass, Cold Front, as well as exclusive Stadia skin. You can also opt for the $29.99, $30 base, or get it free with your Stadia Pro subscription, which, from what I understand right now, Stadia Pro is, I think if you sign up for that, you get it 2 months free, and they've also extended it for those who are the Founders Edition as well. Google also confirmed that some of EA games are coming to Stadia, including Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order in the fall, Madden for winter, and FIFA into the winter though. Interesting thing about this one is that some people have criticized EA over this, saying that you're willing to put this on Stadia, which only has 1 million subscribers at this time, but you're not willing to put it on the Switch, which has like 50 million users and all that stuff. But that's EA, and love them or hate them, that's their decision and all that stuff. Anyway, continuing on, it reads, want some first on Stadia time exclusive, Crayta, I apologize for not saying the name correctly, will be coming out in the summer. Get Pack, which is out today, and Wave Break, which they have to be announced dates, will also reconfirm. Additionally, though, additional full releases include Zombie Army 4, Dead War. Did enjoy that game. $49.99 or $50, or free with Stadia Pro on May 1st, which would be, as I'm recording this video today, though. Octopath Traveler, which is $60. They put out, ouch, Square Enix chill out a bit today. Rock of Age 3, June, and Amber, first on Stadia and PC, early access starting on May 21st, though. So it's interesting that they're bringing Octopath Traveler onto the platform, and I will say, putting aside that it's on Stadia and all this stuff, as a side note though, Octopath Traveler is a really good game. I definitely recommend it, regardless if your main system of choice is either a Switch, a PC, or Stadia, regardless of what it is. I think it is worth getting, though. $60 price tag on Stadia, that certainly is debatable, but nevertheless, I still think Octopath Traveler is a good thing. So I got a chance to see, I did see their Stadia Connect, and I will say, it's not bad or anything like that, though. But I still think they still have a ways to go and all that stuff. Stadia, I've tried it out for a little bit. Recently tried it out a bit. I played a bit of Final Fantasy 15 on it. And I will say that I get what they're trying to do with the system and so forth. And I will say the potential is there, but I still think they have ways to go with it and so forth, though. I think that Stadia it seems like Google is really trying to make Stadia work and all that stuff. And I think this is a good step in the right direction with the Stadia Connect. Still, it's still going to be an uphill battle for them, especially with Amazon coming out with their cloud streaming service, not to mention Microsoft pushing, their Xbox Game Pass, and basically, the Project X Cloud as well. So they're going to have some serious competition, and they're really going to have to step it up if they want to do this. But I really want to, push Stadia and make it really successful. But I would say my overall impression with Stadia Connect, their version of a Nintendo Direct, it wasn't bad. There were some interesting announcements, though, but I won't say it blew me away or anything like that. But being this is their first Stadia Connect, if they continue with Stadia and they do more of these Connect now, we'll see if over time we start seeing some improvements to it. So, but for now, I would say it wasn't terrible, it wasn't bad, but like I said earlier, it didn't really blow me away or anything like that. And having tried Stadia out for a little bit, I would say it works. I see the potential, but I still think they have some areas they still need to address, though. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 2, and this one has to do with Indivisible, I think Individual or Indivisible, with a odd situation that game is currently in right now in regards to the Switch version. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one, we want to talk about a very bizarre and weird situation with the game Indivisible. This was basically a game that originally was crowdfunded on Indigo. It was made by the same folks who did the Skullgirls game, and I think the other one, Skullgirls Second Encounter, which was a 2D hand-drawn fighting game and so forth. Never really played that game, however. This one, however, Individual, I do remember trying out a demo a long time ago when the demo came out on the PS4, and it was a very fun and interesting game at the time. Now, originally this was going to be funded for several different systems, including the Wii U, but when the Wii U kind of bit the dust, it started to come to the Nintendo Switch, or they were developing for the Nintendo Switch. Well, it turns out that the Switch version did come out, but not in the way the developers or even the publisher had in mind, and it's clear that somebody really screwed up, though. In an article from Nintendo Life, it reads that Indivisible, I apologize if I'm not saying the name correctly though, is out now on Nintendo Switch, but the developers isn't happy. According to the article, it reads, remember, Indivisible, originally pitched as a potential Wii U release, this RPG venture from the creators of Skullgirls raised over $2 million in its Indigo campaign back in 2015 and would eventually launch on the PS4, Xbox One, and PC in 2019. Switch owners had to endure an even longer wait, but the good news is it's out in the blue. The game is now available on the Switch eShop. The bad news, one of the original developers isn't too happy about the version that arrived on the eShop, nor was he informed that it would be launched this week. According to the tweet by Mike Zaimont, he tweeted, quote, "Hey, that thing everyone wanted, individual RPGs out right now digitally for Switch in North America. Feel like you missed the announcement? You're not alone. Our team found out because people on Twitter sent us congrats. I had no idea, but there it is." He also continued with, quote, "The Switch version of Indivisible itself is great. The porting group did a serious excellent work, runs at a stable frame rate, even handheld. However, the old build that was apparently now released doesn't have co-op, New Game Plus, or anything else recently. I checked myself." He also wrote, quote, "No release date announced, no let-up PR at all. It's missing current features like co-op. The eShop art image is the wrong image. The launch date does not represent the quality standards of Lab Zero. It just doesn't. I'm sorry, it wasn't. But hey, it's 20% off." He explained, he explained, like I mentioned earlier, the Switch was not handled in-house, but from a port house, but praised the Aulx Studio. Like he mentions though, this wasn't the game that they wanted to offer and all that stuff. So obviously this game was not the version that was supposed to launch for the Nintendo Switch. Well, following this article that came out though, 505 Games, the publisher, released a statement. This was updated from an article from Game Industry Buzz, and according to the update, it says, quote, 505 Games has released a statement explaining why the game was released earlier. The publisher said the Switch version of Indivisible was originally planned for a release on April 28th, but it was later decided to delay until early May to allow for a Day 1 update. This delay was not applied to the release tool, which has been automatically set for April 28th, resulting in the early launch to the surprise of everyone involved, including 505 Games. 505 apologized for the suddenness of the launch and the impact on Kickstarter's backers. Although this was an Indigo, so I don't know why they put Kickstarter on there, though. Who have yet to receive their digital copy. These will be distributed earlier than the planned May launch date, and the Day 1 update is still on course for the release. The publisher warns that the physical copy for backers may be delayed by as much as 2 months due to the ongoing global manufacturing and shipping delay, or mostly because of the coronavirus situation. Yeah, that's not good. I mean, this isn't the first time I see a situation like this. I think last year, Saints.to the Third came out to the Nintendo Switch, and that game shipped, but without the update, and it was a poorly done game and so forth. There were frame rates, there were issues with it, though. Once the update came out for it, though, the game certainly was better now, but still, that did not sit well, and I think THQ Nordic had to apologize on that stuff, but still, someone really screwed up in terms of this, though. The fact that they were able to ship basically the wrong version for Switch owners, ooh, that is not good at all. Hopefully this issue is addressed and resolved as soon as possible, though. So I would say for some folks, if you're thinking about getting this game, you might want to hold off a little bit until the update is there. Then you can basically go and get the game and so forth. I mean, again, I played the demo. I think it's fun, and I certainly was looking forward to the Switch version. But after hearing how 505 Games, the publishers, and screwed up, not to mention the developers were unaware of this situation, I'm probably going to wait until this gets resolved and they have an actual update for this game. So overall, big boo-boo on, I know that sounds a little childish to say that way, but big boo-boo on 505 Games on this one. This should have never happened in regards of the Switch version of Indivisible, though, and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to get to part 3, and this one has to do with the announcement of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of our My True Cent video. And for this part though, my bad. Okay, for this part though, we're going to be talking about the new Assassin's Creed game, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, that has been announced. Now, since 2017 though, several of the Assassin's Creed games, such as Origins and Odyssey, though, in my view, have gotten a little bit better. Obviously, the low point for the Assassin's Creed series was 2014's release of Assassin's Creed Unity, which really damaged that series and so forth, though. From it being broken, buggy, to the whole review embargo debacle that really hurt that series a lot, though. But 2017 was kind of a turning point, and I think that certainly helped the series with some new gameplay mechanics here and there, but it was definitely a better game and probably one of the better Assassin's Creed games, same with Odyssey, since, in my view, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Of course, not everyone was happy with some of the decisions Ubisoft made, including the decision to add, those microtransactions and so forth. And while they are optional, and I didn't find myself in any reason to use them or anything like that, didn't feel like I was being forced to use them. I understand the criticism towards Ubisoft's decision, including their heavily push on monetization and recurring user spendings and all that stuff. So it was interesting to hear that this year we're getting a new Assassin's Creed game compared to what it was, compared to we didn't get one last year, which honestly, I think that's a good thing. I think those yearly releases are a little bit not exactly good. And that, interestingly enough, this new one is going to be based off of the Viking setting, the whole, Norse mythology and so forth. In an article from GameSpot, it reads that Ubisoft has officially unveiled Assassin's Creed Valhalla with a debut trailer, not a gameplay trailer, it's mostly just a cutscenes and so forth, following a teaser stream that revealed the Viking setting a day before. The official reveal had provided details on the new Assassin's Creed protagonist, story, release platform, and some pre-order details, though. It's an ambitious game made by an astounding number of studios from across the globe, and will see the franchise return after a year away. It also continues the franchise push into the role-playing territory, which I actually like that. I'm glad that they're pushing it into that territory, but with a few noticeable changes that still make it feel like an Assassin's Creed game. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is being developed by Ubisoft's Montreal with support from SOFIA, SOFIA, Singapore, MONTPELLIER, Barcelona, KYIV, Shanghai, Philippines, Quebec, Budapest, a whole lot of studios are helping out. And also, I said additional help is being provided by Sperasoft, SPERASOFT, if I'm saying the name correctly, though. As far as the story goes, it says the game casts players as Evo, or EIVOR, a fierce Viking raider raised on tales of battle and glory. It's worth pointing out that you can play as either a male or female, so whatever gender you want to go with, that's your call. Leads a group of Norsemen that have been driven from Norway by endless wars and dwindling resources in the 9th century. Their journey sees them crossing the North Sea and traveling to England, where players must carve out a new future for their clan, reviving the ruthless fighting style of Viking warriors with a revamped combat system that includes the ability to dual-wield weapons against a greater variety of enemies than ever before. With little resources at their disposal, players can lead raids to any promising location they see from the waterfront, using their longship to earn much-needed riches and resource. Ubisoft explains in a press release, as the Vikings begin to settle into their new home, they encounter resistance from the Saxon, SAXONS, including King Alfred of Wessex, WESSEX, again I apologize if I don't say the name correctly, who denounced them as heathens and looks to be the sole ruler of a civilized England. Against all odds, evil must do what is necessary to keep Valhalla within reach. The creative director added, "We can't wait for players to experience the incredible Viking journey ahead of them. Being in EIVOR's boots as both a Viking raider and a clan leader, players will face the conflict of establishing a new home in the midst of a power struggle control for England. This large-scale adventure is what the creative director has specialized for years. He previously served as game director for Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, one of my favorite entries into the Assassin's Creed series, and Assassin's Creed Origins, which I thought was a good game too. In terms of the release window, as of right now, the game is set for a holiday release for 2020 on Xbox Series X, PS5, Xbox One, PS4, and Stadia. And it is coming to PC. However, this one may not sit well with it. Excuse me, for PC owners, as it will be exclusive through the Epic Game Store, which I assume that's probably going to be for a year and so forth. It will also be available as part of Uplay Plus subscription service. Multiple versions of the games will be available to purchase, though, and as this being Ubisoft, there are different pre-orders. You could pre-order the Collector's Edition, which has a whole bunch of, collection stuff. The Ultimate Edition, which has gear packs, settlement packs, and Gold Edition. Ubisoft has this whole idea with different editions. They even had a spreadsheet for Watch Dogs years ago, which I think is a little bit over the top. I kind of agree with that, though. The one thing I do want to point out that was recently broke is that you can also, this will take advantage of Xbox Smart Delivery, which, from what I understand, if you purchase the Xbox One version, I believe you can play it and get an update on the Xbox Series X, if I'm reading that correctly. So if I get it wrong, just let me know on that one, though. What's interesting about this announcement for Assassin's Creed Valhalla is this announcement is sort of coming off on the whole situation where Tom Clancy's Breakpoint did not sit very well, or shall I say, not sold very well as Ubisoft had hoped for. It became sort of a commercial flop. This led to the point where basically Ubisoft had to reevaluate in terms of what kind of games they were doing and so forth. This is what led to the delay for games like God and Monsters, which was originally supposed to come out in February, but that got delayed. Then again, we didn't really see anything. So I'm curious to see in a post-Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint, what kind of approach are we going to see with Assassin's Creed Valhalla? Is it just going to follow the same formula that Origins and Odyssey did? Will it do something completely different and all that stuff? So there's still some questions we have to know about Assassin's Creed Valhalla, including seeing some gameplay and all that stuff. But overall, I would say it's interesting. I am curious about this game. I'll probably take a wait-and-see approach for now on it and all that stuff. But I will say I am very intrigued in playing this one, especially considering I did enjoy Origins and Odyssey, and I thought those games were good, and I definitely liked the direction they were going with the Assassin's Creed series. So I will say the trailer is impressive. Still need to see some gameplay, but my interest in the game certainly has kind of gone up just a little bit on it, though. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 4, and this one has to do with a rumor going around that we may not get a direct, at least we may not be getting a direct for the month of June, possibly. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 4 of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at what apparently is a rumor, or at least a report coming out, that we may not get a Nintendo Direct, at least for January, or not January, I mean at least for June, though, and so forth. Now, I'm sure most of you are aware that because of the whole situation going on over the world, especially with the whole coronavirus, there have been a lot of delays or a lot of cancellations that we've seen. We've seen a lot of games get delayed and all that stuff, like The Outer Worlds, which has now been which is now going to come out supposedly in June, to a lot of the games like The Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, which I'll get to in part 5 though, to a lot of the events that unfortunately got canceled. Gamescom unfortunately got canceled, but they're supposedly doing a digital event, to even Comic-Con. The San Diego Comic-Con this year got canceled because of the coronavirus as well. And of course E3, which was supposed to happen this year, but because of the whole current situation, basically they have decided they are not going to do an E3 event this year. Now, one would have thought that Nintendo may have, despite E3 not happening, that they might have gone ahead with a Direct and all that stuff, have one in June, normally how they do their E3 digital presentation and so forth. Well, if this report that we're hearing is coming out, that turns out it could be true, which there is a possibility, it's sounding more and more likely we may not get that June Direct at all. In an article first reported on Nintendo Life, they're saying that, quote, despite being a yearly tradition at this point, it would appear that we may not be getting a Nintendo Direct presentation this June around the time that E3 2020 should have taken place. The information comes from a new report shared by VentureBeat, who said that Nintendo is telling partner developers it's not going to hold one of its Nintendo Direct events in June. Following E3's 20 cancellation, Nintendo has previously said they will continue to be flexible and redirect its efforts to keep fans up to date in other ways. June's Nintendo Direct presentation has been streamed along E3 since 2013, with Nintendo holding on-stage presentations before that. VentureBeat says that complications brought about from Japan's work-from-home order as part of its attempt to migrate the coronavirus are to blame for breaking of this trend. Reportedly, Nintendo was planning to host a June event as usual, which would have unveiled its first-party schedule for 2020, likely showing off the rumored Super Mario 35th Anniversary Remaster for Nintendo Switch. Should this report be true, we might have waited a little longer before learning about Nintendo's plan for the rest of the year. As of the time of this writing, Nintendo has not issued any official statement related to this report. We'll make sure to update with you if any further news on this topic and when it arrives. And what's interesting about this is that a report from Games Radar points out that Nintendo seems to be having issues, and they're not the only company in Japan, has to do with certainly the professional culture in Japan, how it works, and how they're kind of having some issues with it. The article, this one from Games Radar, reads that, quote, it may be that Japanese professional culture does not lend itself to an easy adaptation work-from-home model, suggested that a number of companies were not prepared for this kind of shift. A Washington Post story is referenced where a report explained that Japan's work culture demands constant face-to-face interaction, partially to show respect. Employees typically are judged on the hours they put in rather than their output. Managers don't trust their staff to work from home, and many companies are just not set up for that for telework. Also, its department has reportedly remained relatively unchanged since the 90s. Nintendo faces an increased hurdle going forward with direct presentations and Mario's celebration. So, if this story, assuming this rumor is true, if it turns out to be true that a Nintendo Direct will not be happening in June, I would say that while I would be somewhat disappointed, I would not be surprised or shocked by this at all. I mean, for all we know, the whole situation with the coronavirus has really thrown a wrench at a lot of companies or a lot of people that were hoping to make some big announcements this year, but because of the whole social distancing and so forth, it really has thrown a wrench in the entire situation. So a lot of companies, we've seen a lot of delays. A lot of them had to rethink a lot of their approaches, though. And obviously, at least according to Games Radar, the work culture in Japan apparently has gone a little uneven due to the whole situation with the coronavirus. And obviously, Nintendo is not immune to that. So clearly, they're going to have to fix something. But as far as this, yeah, it is disappointing, but not surprising. But it does make you kind of wonder if they're not going to do something. Are we going to hear something? Are we going to hear about any new Nintendo hear anything about a Nintendo Direct soon. I mean, will they have one in August? I've been hearing about that. Late summer. Will we have maybe any games coming out? I mean, for the summer though. I mean, we know Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition is coming out, but we're gonna have any big titles and all that stuff. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe we'll have to wait until we hear Nintendo make an official statement and all. But overall, I would say I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out to be that we don't get a Direct in June. I would not be shocked by this. I would be disappointed, but I certainly would not be entirely shocked. And I think because of the whole situation with the coronavirus, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 5, and this one has to do with new release dates for Sony's Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. But we've also gotten basically, apparently Last of Us 2 got some of their information leaked through that. Well, apparently it spoiled a lot of stuff about that game. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our 5th and final part of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one, we're going to be talking about apparently a new release date for Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us 2, but with also a bit of a controversy that game has gotten though. Now, I'm sure most of you are aware that originally Last of Us 2 was supposed to come out this month. However, apparently Sony originally announced that they would delay the game indefinitely for the time being due to the whole situation, of course, with the coronavirus. This led to speculation ranging from, will this game be pushed to the fall? Will this game ever come out? To possibly will this game are they rearranging it to come out to the PS5 and so forth? It also led to questions about Ghost of Tsushima as well, as originally that game was supposed to come out in June, and many wondered, with Last of Us 2 being delayed, would Ghost of Tsushima suffer the same fate or anything like that? Well, apparently Sony has come out, and they have basically given apparently some new release dates though, and while we may have to wait a month for these games to come out, with Last of Us 2 for next month and Ghost of Tsushima coming out in July, it looks like though the wait won't have to be long, First off, in an article posted on GameSpot, it reads, The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, both games are coming this summer. Sony has announced a new release date for 2 of its biggest PS4 blockbusters, both coming within the next few months. The Last of Us 2, which has been delayed indefinitely due to the coronavirus, is now released on June 19, and Ghost of Tsushima, the next game from Sucker Punch, will follow on July 17th, about a month later than previously anticipated. A note on the PlayStation blog from Worldwide Studio head said that these dates are possible due to the ease in the global distribution environment though. I want to personally congratulate and thank both the teams at Naughty Dog and Sucker Punch Productions on their achievement. As we know, it's not easy feat to reach the finish line under these circumstances though. Both teams have worked hard to deliver world-class experience, and we can't wait to see what you think when these games are released in just a few short months. The Last of Us 2 had been delayed earlier this month with no new release date set at the time. The delay cited logistics challenge due to the global pandemic despite nearing completion, which pushed the game from its May 29th release date. The new date means it was ultimately delayed by a few weeks. Ghost of Tsushima has previously been set for June release date back in March. While it hasn't been delayed indefinitely alongside The Last of Us 2, its release date wasn't in doubt due to the same factor. This effectively gives The Last of Us 2 its June slot and bumps Ghost of Tsushima back a month. So yeah, it looks like we don't have to wait too long for these games to come out, which is certainly good. I'm looking forward to seeing The Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima as well. Especially, we haven't seen a game from Sucker Punch for a while since they finished Infamous, I believe it was called Infamous Second Son, I believe that's the name, I apologize, or Infamous 3 to be exact. So it's certainly nice we'll be getting that game and all that stuff. Continuing on with the Sony one, it seems as though while we got a new release date for apparently for The Last of Us 2, the game has also been under the spotlight recently because apparently it seems as that someone has been sort of leaking basically information about The Last of Us Part 2, including, I think, stories and all that stuff. And that certainly has caught a lot of people's attention. From an article from Game Industry Buzz, which originally posted a story on April 27th, with an update on May 1st, which I'll get to, it reads that, quote, a major leak has spread spoilers for The Last of Us Part 2 far and wide across the internet. Video of the leak, gameplay, cutscenes, and developer menus are now being discussed and dissected by the gaming community. A detailed thread collected the leaks can be found on Reset Era. The leak comes just a week after it was revealed that The Last of Us Part 2 would be delayed indefinitely due to the coronavirus pandemic. Neither publisher Sony or developer Naughty Dog have commented on the leak so far, but it is rumored to be the result of a disgruntled Naughty Dog employee. Naughty Dog found itself in the crosshair recently after an investigation by Kotaku revealed that crunch remains a substantial problem at the studio. Obviously, that's an issue in general that the game industry, I feel, really does need to do a better job addressing. It's not the first time Naughty Dog has faced controversy over its working condition, and former Uncharted director Amy Hemming had talked about the issue previously. Now, in the same article, they updated it with adding this statement from Sony in regards to the leak. Sony has confirmed to Game Industry Biz that it has identified the primary individual responsible for the leak earlier this week, saying they are not affiliated with Sony Interactive Entertainment or Naughty Dog, as was rumored. The publisher declined to comment further, saying that the information was currently subject to an ongoing investigation. And there has been some stories kind of floating around recently that Sony has recently filed, copyright strikes or takedown notice for anybody or any YouTubers putting up, the whole information. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but if it is true, assuming that story is true or anything like that, I'm kind of mixed on this. On one hand, I can understand what Sony is doing in terms of the fact that they want to stop people who are leaking this information and all that stuff. I can understand it to some degree, but at the same time, I also can see the other side of the coin is that we've seen people who have filed false copyright strikes and takedowns before for all the wrong reasons and for sometimes even personal grudges, to be exact. So if that story is true, I'm very mixed on Sony doing this, though. I do wonder if I also want to say that I do wonder if what Sony is saying is true, and this is someone who has no affiliation with Sony or Naughty Dog. I just wonder how the hell was this person able to get this information? So I'm very curious to see why or how this person was able to do that. So as far as the spoilers go, I mean, if they're out there, they're out there. I'm certainly not going to pay attention to them or read them or anything like that. I'm going to get the game myself and see what the ending truly is, whether it lives up to the expectation or not. Although there are some people who who have seen the ending, claim to be extremely disappointed. But we'll see what happens. When I play the game myself, I'll see for myself if that's true or not. So overall, great that we have a new release date for Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us 2. Obviously, it's not going to be a huge wait or anything like that. As far as this leak goes for The Last of Us 2, given the fact that this person doesn't have ties to both Sony or Naughty Dog, like I said, it does make you wonder how this person was able to get access to all this information about The Last of Us 2, to be exact. And like I said, if these reports are true about Sony taking down, videos or anything, filing copyright strikes or takedown notice, if that story is true, very mixed on it though. I understand what Sony's doing, but like I said, we've seen how some people have abused copyrights and takedowns before, assuming, if the story is true at all. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Stadia Connect? Did you like Stadia Connect? Did you not like it? Did it convince you to try Stadia? Did it not convince you to try Stadia at all? If you are trying out Stadia, are you going for the Pro, or are you just going to do the free tier part, though? What are your thoughts about this situation with Indivisible for the Nintendo Switch? Do you think 505 Games screwed up, though? Do you think that the developers have a right to be angry at the fact that they weren't aware this game was released, or the fact that it was the old build, not the new build that is out right now for the other versions and all that stuff? Are you still planning on picking up this game, or are you planning to wait until they update it? What are your thoughts about Assassin's Creed Valhalla? Are you looking forward to getting this game? Are you not looking forward to it? If you are planning to get it, what are you going to get it on? Are you going to get it on the PS4, the Xbox One, PS5, Xbox Series X, Stadia, if you're playing, or PC? And if you're getting on PC, are you disappointed to hear that it will be an exclusive for the Epic Game Store, or at least a time exclusive, or are you not bothered by this at all? What are your thoughts about the rumors about a Nintendo Direct may not happen in June? Do you think this rumor is false? Do you think Nintendo will still hold one in June? Or do you think, given what's going on in the world right now, you wouldn't be surprised to see if a Direct does not happen in June? And what are your thoughts about the new release dates for Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us Part 2? Are you pleased with these new release dates? Are you looking forward to getting the game? And what are your thoughts about the whole story and plot and a lot of stuff leaked about The Last of Us Part 2? Are you bothered by this? Are you looking at the leaks? Are you avoiding the leaks or anything like that? Did you like what I said in this video? Or shall I say, do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal Me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!